Hello, Elder Drunken homies. It is Austin coming at you with this beast of a casual tribal deck, which has Nethroi, Apex of Death, as a commander, and Kahira, the Orphan Guard, as a companion. It is mid-range aggro that likes to throw beasts at its opponents without a care in the world, and then resurrect them later and trample its way to victory. Before we get into it though, if you like what we do around these parts, please subscribe and ring the bell to get notifications on when we drop new content, and leave us a like and a comment to help us get this content to more like-minded janky Magic players. We also have a Discord server that is always popping with new brews, memes, and games. You can shitpost with us on Twitter or check out our artwork on Instagram. Lastly, we also stream on Twitch, so follow us there if you like gameplay, magic arts and crafts, and deck building. If you really want to support us, you can join our Patreon for as low as $1 a month and get access to patron-only content like videos, altar arts, and more. You can find all of these links down in the description. Now that the civilities are out of the way, let's get wild. Let's start with the leader of the pack. First up is our Beastie boy himself, Nethroi. This mutating 5/5 Death Touch lifelink bad boy is insane in the mid-game, because when he mutates, you can return up to 10 power worth of creatures from your graveyard to the battlefield. Normally, I would be all about the buried alive strats, but this deck is all about the beasts, so Nethroi is here to keep our foot on the gas and keep surging forward. And along with our cat nightmare beast, we have a cat beast in Kahira, who acts more like a commander than Nethroi, being a 3-mana anthem on a vigilant 3/2 body. Kahira is also where our tribal element comes from, since in her claws we can only have cats, elementals, dinosaurs, and/or beasts in our deck. We will get into the members of our pack in a moment. First, let's talk pack tactics. I cannot lie when I say I got greedy building this deck. The average CMC being 4, not counting lands, so in the early game you want to focus on ramping and getting out bruisers. We have Arboreal Grazer, Marasa Root Grazer, Leyline Prowler, and Krosan Chief as creature ramp in the early game, along with 2 CMC or less mana rocks, like Arcane Signet and the talismans in our colors. A lot of our focus is actually on reducing the cost of Nethroi, so we can cast him a ton. So we also run Herald's Horn, Myth Unbound, and Urza's Incubator to feed the pack. Now, the logistics are out of the way. We can talk about some of the spicier elements of this deck, like the tribal elements and card advantage engines. Hold on, this is where it gets gnarly. Out the gate, for ETB triggers we have Cream of the Crop, Path of Discovery, and Garrook's Pack Leader. So get us some much needed card value. And after them, we have Descendant's Path, Pyre of Heroes, and Birthing Pod. We love Pyre and Pod because they let us throw our beasts into the grinder to make them better, bigger, and beefier, since our commander can bring them back later. We also have some fun with Planeswalkers too, namely Garrook and Vivian, who are great supplements to our game plan, especially Wild Speaker, Champion of the Wild, Primal Hunter, and Monsters Advocate. Now for the notable inclusions. These bad boys are the essence of the deck and some of my favorite cards to play with. I'm just going to lump all of our mutate creatures into this slot. They all trigger our commander as well as have unique abilities of their own, such as Boneyard Lurker being Grave Return, and Auspicious Sterix being able to cheat out permanents, and lastly Gem Razor can destroy artifacts and enchantments. Mangohorn is a personal favorite of mine because it can destroy an artifact and then continues to be a problem child, making our opponent's artifacts enter tapped. Questing Beast is next up, and this bad boy is keywords on keywords, so it is an amazing mutate target. Can't be blocked by creatures power 2 or less, and when it deals damage to a player it can also mess up planeswalkers they control, while also having damage that can't be prevented. Wizards really wrote a book on this card, huh? Elder Gargoth is one of the best beasts out there, with Vigilance, Reach, and Trample, with 3 abilities to choose from whenever it attacks or blocks. Make a 3/3 beast, gain 3 life, or draw a card. What a beast. Lurking Predators. This is a personal favorite enchantment of mine, because how can I not include it in a deck that just wants to drop threats all the time? This card makes Spellslinger decks and grindy value decks into their own worst enemy, letting you put creatures on the board the more our opponents play the game. The Underfoot Bailoff is an MVP when it comes to walloping the board as a 5/5 trampler. It does work, but with its Lieutenant's ability, it grants +2/+2 and trample to all of our creatures, making it insane mutate target and endgame juggernaut. Siege Behemoth. Now this is an endgame juggernaut. We have Siege Behemoth with Hexproof. This Hellspawn lets you bypass blockers and let your creatures deal damage as though they were never there in the first place. Highcliff Felidar. This card is one of the few pieces of creature removal we run in the deck. It being a 5/5 means it can be easily resurrected by Nethroi, and it having Vigilance is just a bonus. Protein Hulk. What kind of beast tribal deck would not include the best beast egg in existence? We can throw it willy-nilly at our opponents and then resurrect it over and over and over again to get our best beasts on the board. Honestly, trading it out for even any one of our 6 CMC creatures is a massive value. Welcome back. The Great Henge. This may be the strongest ramp piece we have next to Soul Ring, since it becomes cheaper with our creature's power, gives us 2 mana and 2 life while also drawing us cards. What else is there to really say? Well, I guess I could mention the other awesome ramp piece I use, which is Mirari's Wake. Mirari's Wake lets your lands tap for double and gives all your creatures +1/+1. Honestly, it makes our beasts more of a threat, and it allows us to cast them for a lot less resource. It could fight for that great ramp piece slot. Now, time for our notable exclusions. Nearly all instants and sorceries. These are out because of our win con being Primal Surge, and I'll get to that later, so don't you worry. Next up, we got Bad Beasts. This tribe is not that well supported, so there are a lot of bad beasts out there. But it's really easy to build a deck around them because of changelings and the like. And there's a lot of flex slots, so you could change up the entire vibe of the deck. Fast mana. If you want to add fast mana, you could, but I don't really see the point since this deck is meant to be casual, and it turns on around turn 3 or 4. And we really don't care about rushing our commander out. Win cons. Primal Surge plus a Chroma's Memorial, Craterhoof Behemoth, or a transformed Ulvenwald Oddity. This is the main win con for the deck. It's getting to 10 mana and casting Primal Surge. This is an instant win if you have a Chroma's Memorial still in the library or Ulvenwald Oddity transformed on the board. It also can get us a Craterhoof Behemoth, hopefully with enough bodies out on the board to end the game. Next up, Cultivator, Colossus, and Abundance. This is a very fair combo, and it helps you pull every land out of your library. If you pair this combo with a landfall trigger such as Rampaging Bailoff, you can win in the next rotation, making it a pretty fair combo. And if you can give the Colossus haste, you might even be able to end a player right then and there. Lastly, Felidar Sovereign plus 40 life. It's our last win con because it's not the easiest to pull off, but we do have some sub-elements of life gain in the deck, so it is not impossible to get above 40 life. Now for the playstyle. This deck has a weakness in that it has no instants and sorceries and is very permanent reliant. This means it's very susceptible to board wipes and instant speed interaction, so when building it I kept that in mind with cards that have activated abilities or triggered abilities that are triggered by our opponent's actions, such as with Spiritmonger, Lurking Predators, and Spearbreaker Behemoth. Power level. This is a casual deck, built to be slightly superior to that of a pre-con deck. The combos it has are fair, but the deck is relatively slow due to the lack of tribal support for our beasts. That being said, you can always add more ramp or lower the CMC curve for your playgroup. Speaking of playgroup, this is a deck that wants to play on par or as a raid boss. It can be extremely fun to play for new players, or with new players and even veteran players who don't catch on to the Primal Surge strategy. Beastie Bois is one of my most efficient decks, and it comes out of nowhere and wins games. Thank you for sticking it out with me and this bestial deck. The deck list is in the description, and I would love to hear about your favorite beasts, how you would approach this deck, or even how you would tackle Nethroi or Kahira on your own merit in the comments. And again, if you like what we do and want to support us, you can join our Patreon for as low as $1. Join our Discord and follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Twitch, where we drop janky magic content as often as we can for your viewing pleasure. Stay janky, my friends, and remember, untap, upkeep, drink. Adios.